scent of the burning man was finally gone, replaced by the salt and decay of the sea. We walked back to the shore in a loose, silent line. Leo carried his boombox, an old monster that devoured batteries and could just barely play cassettes through its one crackling speaker. The sound was terrible, but it filled the emptiness. He'd been wealthy before the sickness, but money was a ghost now. His prized stereo was just a heavy plastic relic. Only 2 stations cut through the static for us. One was some zealot in a bunker, broadcasting sermons and sobbing over ancient pop songs. He sang hymns in a broken voice that made my skin crawl. The other station only came alive after dark. We didn't know where it was. Just kids, I think, who'd taken over a dead city's transmitter. They used fake stupid call letters and played whatever they found. That's what we were listening to as we trudged over the dunes. I held Rachel's hand. James and Anna walked ahead. Finn was already out of sight down the beach. Leo trailed behind, the tinny sound of some forgotten love song trailing him like a shadow. "Do you love me?" Rachel whispered. Her voice was thin, desperate. "Just tell me you do." She needed to hear it constantly. I was her security blanket. "No," I said. She was gaining weight, her face getting puffy. If she lived, which was unlikely, she'd just get softer, weaker. More annoying. "You're cruel," she hissed, bringing a hand to her cheek. Her painted nails caught the weak light of the rising crescent moon. "Are you going to start crying?" "Shut up." She definitely was. We crested the final dune, and I stopped. I always stopped here. Before the pandemic, this place was a circus. Sunburned families, screaming children, the litter and the grease and the cheap perfume. An ugly, beautiful mess of life. Now, the ocean had taken it all back. It had swallowed the trash and the memory of the crowds without a second thought. We weren't enough to stain it again. We loved the place, I suppose. Hadn't we just given it a kind of offering? Even Rachel, with her complaining and her tight, stained jeans. The sand was a pale, rippled sheet, marked only by the high tide line, a tangled border of seaweed and bleached wood. Moonlight painted deep, shifting shadows. The lifeguard tower stood a little ways off, a bleached skeleton pointing a bony finger at the stars. And the waves. The night surf. Endless pounding explosions of white against the dark, rolling in from a black horizon that might have touched another continent yesterday. That was Wild Horses, a relic. A young, tired voice said on the radio, "This is Eli." Mike was supposed to be on, but Mike's not feeling great. He's swollen. Rachel let out a wet giggle, tears still shining. I walked faster to shut her up. "Wait." Leo called from behind. "Jonah." "Hey, man, wait up." The DJ on the radio was telling a dirty joke, and someone in the background yelled about warm soda. Then we were on the packed sand. I looked back. Leo was clumsily sliding down the dune on his backside, a ridiculous figure. For a second, I pitied him. "Run with me," I said to Rachel. "Why?" I swatted her rear, and she yelped. "Because it feels alive to run." We ran. She fell behind quickly, wheezing and calling my name, but I tuned her out. The wind screamed past my ears. The air was sharp with salt. The surf was a constant, shuddering boom. The waves looked like moving obsidian, capped with froth. I kicked off my shoes and ran barefoot, not feeling the shells that bit into my soles. My heart hammered against my ribs. Then I saw the shelter, with Finn already inside and James and Anna beside it, staring at the water. I did a clumsy dive roll, feeling the grit scrape my back, and crashed into James's legs. He tumbled on top of me, grinding my face into the sand while Anna laughed. We got up, grinning stupidly. Rachel had given up and was trudging. Leo was nearly with her. "Quite a blaze," James said. You think he really drove from Chicago like he claimed? Anna asked. Does it matter? I said it didn't. We'd found him behind the wheel of a fancy car, delirious, his head swollen grotesquely. He had the blue cough. He was finished. So we took him up to the bluff, and we burned him. He said his name was David. He called for his mother. He thought Rachel was his mother. She'd laughed at that. The worst things amused her. It was Leo's idea to burn him. He'd read occult books in college. He leered in the dark beside the car, whispering that if we made an offering to the void, maybe it would spare us. None of us believed that. Not really. But the idea took root. It was something new to do. So we did it. We tied him to the rusty viewing scope on the bluff with our belts. Then we scavenged for driftwood and dry brush like children on a macabre treasure hunt. David just mumbled to his mother the whole time. Rachel's eyes were wide, her breathing quick. It excited her. Down in the ravine, she kissed me. Her lips were slick and tasteless. I pushed her away, and the pouting began. We piled the wood around him. Finn lit it with his lighter. It caught fast. At the very end, just as his hair ignited, the man screamed. The smell was like roasting meat. Got a smoke, Jonah? Finn asked. There's a whole store behind you. He smirked and swatted a mosquito. Don't want to move. I gave him a cigarette and sat. Rachel and I had met Finn in the city. He was on a curb, playing old blues songs on a guitar he'd looted, the sound echoing down the empty canyons of buildings. Rachel stopped in front of us, still out of breath. You're a monster, Jonah. Change the tune, Rach. That one's worn out. Bastard. Heartless piece of garbage. Go away, I said, or I'll give you a real reason to cry. She started weeping instantly. She was a professional. Leo came up and tried to console her. She kneed him in the groin. He spat in her face. I'll kill you. She flew at him, shrieking, windmilling her arms. Leo stumbled back, turned and ran. She chased him, screaming curses. Finn threw his head back and laughed. The faint sound of the radio was swallowed by the surf. James and Anna had wandered off. I could see them by the water's edge, silhouettes wrapped around each other. A postcard for the end of the world. Good for them. Jonah? What? I sat and smoked, thinking about Finn flicking his lighter, creating fire like a primitive. I've got it, Finn said. Yeah? I looked at him. Sure? Sure, my head is splitting. My gut aches. It burns when I piss. Maybe it's just a bug. Rachel had a bug. She begged for a priest. I laughed hollowly. That was back at the campus, a week before they shut it down, a month before they used construction equipment to bury the dead. Look. He struck a match and held it under his jaw. In the flare, I saw the telltale bruise like blotches, the swelling. It was the blue cough. Okay, I said. I don't feel too bad. In my head, I mean. You, though. You think about it all the time. I can tell. No, I don't. A lie. Sure you do. Like that guy tonight. You're thinking about him. We probably did him a favor. I doubt he even knew. He knew, Finn shrugged. Doesn't matter now. We smoked, and I watched the waves. Finn had the cough. That made it all real again. It was late summer. Soon the cold would come. Time to find walls. Winter. Dead by the first snow, all of us. In some stranger's living room, with Leo's stupid radio on a shelf full of cheap novels, and the weak daylight lying on the floor in silent squares. The thought was so clear, it made me shudder. Don't think about winter in August. It's a bad omen. Finn chuckled. See? You do think about it. What could I say? I stood. Going to find Rachel. Maybe we're the last ones, Jonah. Ever think of that? In the low light, he already looked like a corpse. with shadows for eyes and still, pale fingers. I walked to the water's edge and looked out. Nothing but the heaving, endless dark. The thunder of the breakers was immense, bigger than anything left in the world. I closed my eyes. The sand was cold and firm under my feet. If we were the last people, so what? This would go on forever. Rachel and Leo were up the beach. She was on top of him, pounding his head into the churning foam. They were both drenched. I walked over and pushed her off with my foot. Leo scrambled away on hands and knees, gasping, "I hate you." Rachel screamed at me, her mouth a dark, twisted hole. It reminded me of the entrance to a carnival funhouse from when I was a kid. "Get up, Rachel." I held out my hand. She took it warily and stood, sand plastered to her clothes. "You didn't have to push me. You never. Come on." She was a broken record, always playing, never unplugged. We walked toward the boarded-up concession stand. The owner's apartment was above it. There was a bed there. She didn't deserve it, but Finn was right. It didn't matter. No one was keeping score. I paused at a shattered window, peering in at the untouched junk inside. Piles of faded T-shirts, tarnished bracelets, deflated beach balls, dusty postcards, ugly ceramic angels, plastic dog mess, unused fireworks, mildewed towels. A sign over the snack counter read, "World-famous fried clams." I used to come here in high school. Another life. A girl named Clara. A blue polka dot swimsuit. We'd walk this boardwalk barefoot, the wood hot. We never tried the famous clams. What are you staring at? Nothing. Come on. I had fever dreams about David. He was in his car, talking to his mother. He was a charred skull on a blackened frame. He smelled of smoke and cooked meat. He talked and talked, but the words became just noise. I woke up sweating. Rachel was splayed across me, heavy and warm. My watch had stopped at 3:10. It was still dark. High tide, maybe 4 a.m. Dawn soon. I got out of bed and went to the doorway. The sea breeze was cool on my skin. Despite everything, I didn't want to die. The ocean doesn't care if you're the last one alive. It just keeps coming. I found a warm beer in the corner and sat on the landing, pulling the tab. So here we were. The end of humanity, not by bombs or war, but by a common cold gone rogue. I imagined a monument in some desert, a mile of polished stone that just said, in letters tall as buildings, it was just a bug. I tossed the empty can. It clattered on the concrete below. The shelter was a dark shape on the sand. I wondered if Finn was awake. I wondered if I would be. Jonah? She stood in the doorway in one of my shirts. I hated that. You don't like me at all anymore, do you? I didn't answer. Sometimes I could still feel sorry for it all. This wasn't what anyone deserved. Can I sit with you? The step isn't big enough for both of us. She made a choked sound and started to turn. Finn has the blue cough, I said. She froze. Don't joke. I lit another cigarette. He can't. He had the first strain, like all of us. Maybe he lied back then, so we'd let him stay with us. Relief washed over her. Yes, that's it. I would have lied too. She paused. Coming back to bed? Not yet. She went inside. I didn't have to tell her that surviving one strain meant nothing against this new one. She knew. She was choosing to forget. I watched the surf. It was huge. Years ago, this was a surfing spot. The bluff was a darker smudge against the night sky. I thought I could see the observation post. Maybe James and Anna were up there now. I put my face in my hands. It was all narrowing so fast, and it was all so petty. No dignity, no meaning. The surf, coming in, relentless, deep and cold and clean. Clara and I came here that final summer, July. We ate ice cream and listened to the radio. I put sunscreen on her back, she put it on mine. The air was thick with heat, the sand blinding, the sun a white-hot coin in a perfect blue sky. We were so beautifully, stupidly alive. Memory is the last ghost, and it haunts the living. Don't forget to like this video and follow the journey into the quiet apocalypse here on Winds of Thought.